Happy hump day, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. We're going to help you get your fantasy football team ready for Thursday. We got big weekend here. No bye weeks this week in the NFL. So we got a game. Every single player in the NFL is going to be available for your roster. I'm David Huppin. Right there is the CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. And before we get started with anything, I just want to say I hope everybody has a very nice, happy, safe Thanksgiving. And if you are going to be one of those people that goes out tonight for Blackout Wednesday, please do it responsibly. Take an Uber. You can save somebody's life. That's for damn sure. But yeah, fantasy football rankings. Let's go, man. I had a really good week in fantasy last week. The only matchup I lost is my team that is a straight-up dumpster fire. Like, it is the worst team I ever owned. It's the team that I drafted Russell Wilson on, and it just they have 2 wins on the year, and one of those wins was against AJ, so I'll take that. But yeah, that team is really bad. But all my other teams sweep across the board. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about my fantasy.
Is that the Krusty Krabs? Is that the Krusty Krabs league?
I did win in that league, but this is another league I went with AJ. It's like a 16-man, 2-quarterback diamond. It's a weird league. Buddy Rodney Madison runs it. I don't know if you ever met Rodney. It's an interesting league, that's for damn sure.
I'm in the league. I was in the league with him.
I think we're in a league with Rodney right now. Yeah. We're in the. He's in the Krusty Krab. Now that I think about it, but yeah, I'm looking pretty good in that league. I'm 6-5, so hopefully things keep rolling. Beat the number 1 team in my division this week. But yeah, I've been David Huppin. Let's get into this. I've also shared the StreamYard link into all the places, so please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast so we can continue giving you guys good content. But yeah, let's get into our rankings, man. Let's go first with the quarterbacks. Let's talk about the number 1 most important position in the league. Let's first address, before we get into the rankings, let's talk about Justin Fields. You had him in your rankings before today. You took him out of your rankings. I did not have him in my rankings even before the announcement today about his injury. I still think he will play in that game, but that is a defense.
For what?
I just think he's going to play. I think he's a tough guy. I think he wants to prove that he's tough. He'll play in the game. That's what
he wants to prove that he's tough with a separated shoulder. That's great.
But I'm telling you, he's going to play. But the reason I didn't have my rankings initially is because he's going up against a Jets defense that's actually fairly good. And I think he'll have a tough game regardless. But the injury does change things. I still think that he will play. That's just my gut feeling about it.
I do not think he will play. He's got a separated shoulder. Those tend to turn into worse injuries.
He cleared to practice, so that's my opinion. He'll play.
Yeah, they're pulling a Booby Miles on him. No, don't play, Justin. Don't play. You're playing a top 5 defense this week.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. No, I would not play, Justin. I would not play this week. I'd sit it out a week and play next week.
Moving on, let's just get into my rankings. Number 1, Lamar Jackson. 2, Josh Allen. 3, Jalen Hurts. 4, Dak Prescott. 5, Justin Herbert. 6, Patrick Mahomes. I know you see him pretty low there, but the Rams defense has been solid at times this season. So I think, and they're not going to need him to throw a lot to beat the Rams. I think Patrick Mahomes maybe have a semi-pedestrian game for Patrick Mahomes. 7, Tua Tagovailoa. I also do not think he will need to have an amazing game in order to win his game. So I think they'll run the ball a lot there. Then Joe Burrow, 8, 9, Tom Brady, 10, Geno Smith. My outside looking in, I got Derek Carr. And for some reason, I have Russell Wilson in my rankings, even though he's worked me every week this year. And if you, I referenced this video yesterday. Did you check out That's Good Sports, that YouTuber, and watch him descend into madness over the Denver Broncos. And then number 3 is Tyler Heineke. Tyler, give me a 6-pack of Heineken. And then my sneaky daily.
Gotta get it right. There we go.
I think I messed it up every time I'm trying to say it. So I
know that's the first time you got it
right. I think I should just leave it to you. And then my sneaky daily is the same guy, Heineke at 5,300, going against a pretty lackluster defense there in Atlanta Falcons. I think 5,300 is a pretty good value at the quarterback position. Tyler, give me a 6-pack of Heineke.
There we go, baby.
Let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
And every time he scores a touchdown, I said, pop me one of them Heinekens, baby.
Every time he scores a touchdown, you got a shotgun Heineken.
You got a shotgun Heineken, baby. Hey, you know what? Honestly, Heineken should have him be like it's to sponsor him. They should sponsor him. Just put him on some commercials.
The problem is nobody outside of football, like the inner football people that really know the sport, know who he is.
Who's this guy? Taylor Heineke from the Commander.
Grandpa Joe isn't buying any Heineken because Tyler Heineke's doing commercials for him. Like, for real. Yeah.
All right, my number one guy is Tua Tagovailoa going up against that lowly Houston Texans defense. I actually have Tua and Jalen Hurts in on the same team for some reason. One of the weeks that Jalen Hurts was on a bye, I picked up Tua when he was in concussion protocol. Somebody dropped him for some reason when he was. They thought he wasn't going to come back.
I think it's fair to kind of assume that maybe he wasn't going to come back this season after that injury. And
yeah, so I ended up picking him up on a whim. I said, you know what, man, I'm gonna pick him up because if he does come back, he's gonna be money. Well, I have him as like my backup. So my backup quarterback, and I'm playing the matchup this week. I'm playing Houston. I'm playing Tua over Houston as opposed to Jalen Hurts over the Green Bay Packers. I just haven't, I haven't seen like Jalen Hurts the last couple of weeks hasn't really been that great of a quarterback. I mean, the touchdown on the ground saved his fantasy output last week. 100%. And so that's what you got like last 2 weeks, and then the Green Bay Packers. I mean, yeah, they gave up a good game to Ryan Tannehill. That's fair to say. But if they're able to run the football, if they're able to do pull like how Washington played them a couple weeks ago, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have a better game than Tua. And that's the reason why I don't have him as my number one guy. But anyways, at number 2, Pat Mahomes. Yes, you should have him a lot higher this week against the Rams. I just think it doesn't matter who he's playing. Pat Mahomes is my MVP this year so far.
He's my MVP too this year.
He is my MVP this year. It doesn't matter who he's playing. And the Rams just don't generate enough pressure for me to be like, oh, God, they scare me. Yeah, no. I think Pat Mahomes is going to rip them up a new one. Number 3, I got Josh Allen. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, Jalen Hurts going against my Green Bay Packers. And I don't really think, like I said, Jalen Hurts still a top 5 quarterback in fantasy. I think he does have some value on the ground against Green Bay. But I do think that, it's going to be a tough matchup. Playing they are at the link, so, it may not be as tough as I think it's going to be. But I might be a homer on this one a little bit. But anyways.
100%.
Yes. Anyways, at number 6, Justin Herbert. Number 7, Dak Prescott. Number 8, Joe Burrow. I should probably have Joe Burrow a little higher, but you know what?
I got Joe Burrow at the same spot, man. Like I think that's about right for him, man.
You think that's about right going against Tennessee? Yeah. And then number 9, I got Geno Smith and Derek Carr round out my top 10. Both of them playing against each other. I think both of them are going to have top 10 fantasy football games. On my outside looking in, I got Tom Brady, Kyler Murray, and what the heck? No. Oh God, no. What did I send you? Jimmy Garoppolo. I got my old rankings in here on my phone. Jimmy Garoppolo here at San Francisco.
I got the graphic. It's right on the graphic.
You got the graphic right. I'm good. I'm going off the graphic. God, I was looking at my old rankings for some reason. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Man, you had me nervous there for a second. Like, did I mess that up?
I was like, wait, Derek Carr twice? What the hell is going on? And then my sneaky daily, I got Taylor Heineke at 6,500. And if you're real ballsy and you're looking to, swing for the fences and go cheap at the quarterback position, look no other than Mike White, who is going to start for the New York Jets against the Chicago Bears, who haven't been the mode of consistency defensively. He's cheap at 6,200 on FanDuel. I rolled the dice with Mike White if you're feeling good.
Totally agree with you on the Mike White prediction. The Bears secondary leaves a lot to be desired. I do think Mike White will have a good game against the Chicago Bears. Moving on from the quarterback position, let's talk about those ball runners, the running backs. Let's go with your running backs first. What do you got at number 1?
My number 1 running back is Derek the King Henry. He's my number 1 running back this week. That's my guy, man. We've all seen this second half of the season. Derrick Henry starts to explode. This is where it starts. I think we have started to see him start to explode. I mean, against Green Bay, he had 2 yards a carry, 2.6 yards a carry, something like that.
But he threw a touchdown and he ran for one. He ran
for a touchdown. So and he had that long run from like off the screenplay.
And he threw a touchdown.
Yeah, so Derrick Henry is coming on strong in the second half of the season. Going up against Cincinnati. I mean, they have a top 10 defense, but I think they will run the football against Cincinnati to get things going for Ryan Tannehill. And then at number 2, I got Saquon Barkley going up against the Dallas Cowboys. He had a touchdown in them against them earlier. I think he has a better output this week. And number 3, I got Austin Eckler. And also, running the football against the Dallas Cowboys kind of seems to be like their kryptonite on defense. If you're running like, kind of physical, getting up against Michael Parsons and those guys. And then number 3, I got Austin Eckler. Number 4, Josh Jacobs. Number 5, Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I'm pairing guys up in the same games. Josh Jacobs going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker, the third, going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think those two are going to have big games, and they're starting on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping they have big games this week. And number 6, I got Christian McCaffrey. Number 7, Tony Pollard. Man, what a coming out party last week. He had 2 touchdowns, 180 yards, all-purpose yards. I think Tony Pollard keeps it going against the New York Giants. He is their most explosive. Pretty much, he's the most explosive player on offense.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So, and then number 8, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, he's sneaking in the top 10. He's actually sneaking up the rankings. I think after this week, if he has a good showing, he might be in my top 5. I just like the way Jeff Saturday's kind of put an emphasis on running the football, getting nasty with it. And Jonathan Taylor looks like, he's starting to pick up some steam here.
As Greg Popovich likes to say, give him some nasty.
Give him some nasty, baby. And then at number 9, Travis Etienne, man, he's been really good this season. I think he has a good matchup. They're going to use him a lot against Baltimore.
The Baltimore Ravens. I think that his involvement in the passing game, I think, is to stabilize his fantasy value, especially in PPR.
Yeah, exactly. And then running on my top 10, I got Aaron Jones going up against Philly. Aaron Jones is the top 10. He might be, higher than top 10 after this week, just because if it's a copycat league and they run the football against them like Washington did a couple weeks ago, which Green Bay is very capable of. They did it against Dallas. They could probably do it against Philly. I think Aaron Jones has some good value this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And on my outside looking in, I got Nick Chubb. He's pretty low. The last 2 weeks have been, have not been good for him. Yeah, pretty pedestrian. And then Jeff Wilson and Najee Harris. I'd rather have Jeff Wilson over Raheem Mostert in that offense going up against the Houston Texans. And then on FanDuel, my sneaky in FanDuel is Isaiah Pacheco at 6,300. He's just he's the main bell cow there in Kansas City.
Especially now that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think, is out for this game. So I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to give you some serious value, including what he does in the kick return game. If he breaks one to the house, like he's been decent in kick returns. His value on the running back position, he doesn't give you as much out of the passing game as much as like the guy who I have in my DraftKings. But Isaiah Pacheco is a really sneaky pick in FanDuel for sure.
Absolutely.
Moving over from my this is like the first time I can remember in a long time that our running back rankings are like vastly different. Like they're like considerably different this week than most of the weeks I can remember. Usually our rankings are pretty close, but I got Austin Eckler at number 1. I think that also the Chargers are going to lean on that running game a little bit more. I mean, they're going up against that Arizona Cardinals team that just got shredded up in the running game by the San Francisco 49ers, and I know that the Chargers don't have the offensive line that the San Francisco 49ers have. But I do think Austin Eckler is going to be a major focal point in their offense. Look for him to have potentially 3 touchdowns combined in this game. 2, Kenneth Walker, the third. Nick Chubb. The carries are still there for Nick Chubb, so I think he'll bounce back. But yeah, I am pretty concerned as a Nick Chubb owner that he's been pretty meh the last few weeks. But you have to roll the dice. He's been a stud. He's the bell cow there for the Browns. If the Browns want to win games, they're going to have to lean on Nick Chubb. If they do even want to win games, I don't know what's going on there. 4, Christian McCaffrey. 5, Josh Jacobs. 6, Saquon Barkley. I'm not sure how this Dallas Giants game is going to go. It could potentially be a fact that the Dallas gets up big, and the Giants are forced to abandon the run, and you don't see a big game out of Saquon Barkley. It could go the other way, though. 7, Derrick Henry. 8, Aaron Jones. 9, Dalvin Cook. I still believe in him. I think he's going to be healthy enough to play. Look for him to have a big productive game, a bounce back game against the New England Patriots, who have a great defense, but I think Dalvin Cook will be productive. Then 10, Jonathan Taylor. On the outside looking in, Jeff Wilson Jr. I agree with you. I'd rather have him over Raheem Mostert for the rest of the season, especially even this week. Travis Etienne Jr. I think his involvement in the passing game will stabilize his value. 3, Tony Pollard. Yeah, I think he's been incredible in both facets of the game on the running and the passing. But I still think Zeke is going to hawk some touchdowns from him. Kind of limits his value just a little bit. And then my sneaky and daily, Jerick McKinnon. The pass catching option there in Kansas City, as long as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know he fumbled during the game against the Chargers, but I don't think they'll hold it against him. He's the pass catching guy. I also think he potentially becomes the goal line carry. You guys seen him get a lot of goal line carries. So you could hawk some touchdowns there. And then Elijah Mitchell. He's been productive as he's come back. It's been 2 weeks. He's had like 60 yards in both games. If he gets in the end zone at any point next week, he's going to have some good value. And the San Francisco 49ers have a pretty good matchup for them going up against the Saints.
Yeah.
But moving on from the running backs, I got my wide receivers. Number one is the same guy on both sides, Tyreek Hill. He's no longer on pace to break Calvin Johnson's record. He's also no longer on pace to get to 2,000 yards receiving, but he has been awesome this season, and he's going up against the Houston Texans, who actually have an underrated pass defense if you look at their numbers, actually. But I think Tyreek Hill is going to break a bigger one. To Devontae Adams, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I think Tariq Woolen, who's been pretty good as a rookie. I don't think he's played anybody as good as Devontae Adams, so let's see how he fares. 3, CeeDee Lamb. 4, A.J. Brown. 5, Justin Jefferson. 6, Stephon Diggs. 7, DK Metcalf. 8, DeAndre Hopkins. I don't care who the quarterback is for the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be productive. 9, Mike Evans. 10, Christian Kirk. I think the Ravens, I think they have figured out a lot when it comes to their defensive side of the ball, but I do think they can be beaten in the air. So look for Christian Kirk to have a decent game there. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. Jacoby Myers for the New England Patriots going up against the Minnesota Vikings. And then Terry Scary McLaurin going up against the Atlanta Falcons for the Washington Commanders. And then my sneaky and daily, I got Joshua Palmer at 5,400. The dude was just awesome last week against the Chargers going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, 5,400. And then Traylon Burks, somebody that you said has it going on here. Really emerged last week as a kind of deep threat guy against the Green Bay Packers. 4,200 for Traylon Burks, not bad. Won't break the bank.
Look for more Traylon Burks. As Derrick Henry keeps teams honest in the run game. I think Traylon Burks with the deep ball and the deep passing routes for Ryan Tannehill is going to open up for the Titans out here.
Yep.
Yeah. At number 1 for me, Tyreek Hill. Yes, you're right. He's just awesome. He's going against Houston, who isn't very good, and he's going to have a lot of yards. He's got the MVP throwing. He's not the MVP anymore. He's got Tua Tagovailoa throwing the football. And Tua's been pretty good this year, especially coming off of those injuries, those concussion injuries. And number 2, got Stephon Diggs. Number 3, Devontae Adams. I believe you're right. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, as good as they've been, I mean, I think Devontae Adams will still expose them. This week. So even Devontae Adams, even in Seattle, I like him to build upon that good game that he had last week. At number 4, DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, these guys used to be number 1, number 2, number 3 next to each other, but they're 3 and 4. I don't care who is throwing him the ball. You're right, David. I do believe it's going to be Kyler Murray this week. So let me get DeAndre Hopkins at number 4. Number 5, Justin Jefferson going up against a tougher defense in New England. But I still think he has that top 5 value no matter what defense he's going against. Number 6, CeeDee Lamb. Number 7, Jalen Waddle. Yeah, he's the guy he may not get all the yards that Tyreek Hill gets, but he's getting more touchdowns. That's for damn sure out of the both. So let me get Jalen Waddle in this matchup.
And they're both coming off a bye. I mean, imagine they've had a chance to really implement some interesting stuff on their offense.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And then number 8, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Golly, I'm looking at who they're going against. Are they going against
Detroit is playing the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so if one thing that we know about Buffalo, they kind of play down to their competition in a way sometimes this season, right?
It's true.
So and they're playing. They actually didn't have to go back home. They could have stayed. They stayed in Detroit because they played in Detroit last week. But I like Amon-Ra St. Brown at least to get a touchdown. I think this is going to be a back and forth game. At number 9, I got Amari Cooper, who's quietly Amari Cooper's having a pretty good season. Quietly. And then at number
100%. 2 touchdowns last week, I think he's had 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he's just not being talked about enough because they're not winning as much. But if they were winning, Amari Cooper would be, he'd be up there, amongst some of the best. Be talked about with, CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and those guys. And then number 10, I got A.J. Brown run out of my top 10. I mean, just, the Green Bay Packers, they got a myriad of injuries as well. And I think, Philly can expose that. I think A.J. Brown's a physical wide receiver. who can take advantage of the Green Bay Packers secondary. And I'm outside looking in. I got T. Higgins, Scary Terry McLaurin, and Gabe Davis from the Buffalo Bills. Yes, Gabe Davis. I think it's going to be a shootout there in Detroit, and I think Gabe Davis is good for a couple long touchdowns there for Buffalo. And then my team option in FanDuel here. My guy in FanDuel, Justin Watson. Do you know who Justin Watson is?
I do. I think he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, but
yes, he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Watson.
I kind of thought he was a tight end, but maybe they reclassified him as a wide receiver. I don't.
No. Justin Watson is a legit wide receiver out of Penn, Ivy League boy. Justin Watson last week, I believe he had 4 targets, 3 receptions for 67 yards, and he had 22.3 yards per catch last week, with his longest being a 29-yarder from Pat Mahomes. So, with Juju out, with them trying to figure out,
Kadarius Toney
McCole Hardman,
game early.
Kadarius Toney let McCole Hardman out there. Justin Watson and Sky Moore.
Have you guys? I don't know if this is like somebody's if it was like a real post, but like McCole Hardman was like watching the game and like broke his TV. Not real?
No, that's not real. No, that's not real. That's a YouTube. They debunked that on social media. That's a YouTube video. That's a YouTube video you can put on your screen. They debunked that. They debunked that. He did not break his TV.
So Justin Watson over his last 3 games, he has 4 catches for 67 yards, 1 catch for 12 yards, 5 catches for 37. Not bad.
Yeah, no, not a bad option. At 5,000, it's very cheap, so you can stack your chips elsewhere.
Especially if Hardman's still out and Tony's out and Juju Smith-Schuster's still out. I mean, this is a team that's still going to throw the football.
And he's a big boy. He's a big target, 6'2", 215. He's got a nice route tree. Look for Pat Mahomes to look for him this week. And then, Sky Moore at 5,400 is not a bad option as well. I mean, he showed some promise. He came in with, 7 catches on the game, 7 catches in the game. He had 5 in this game for 63. So look for Sky Moore as well in this game. But he's cheap at 5,400 as well for FanDuel.
Moving over from the wide receivers to your tight ends. Who do you got as your number 1 tight end? As if it's a rise to anyone.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. He's the number 1 tight end to the end of time. The GOAT, Travis Kelce. 3 tutties last week, including the game winner.
A hat trick of touchdowns.
The hat trick, baby. Yeah, Travis Kelce's number 1. Number 2, Mark Andrews. Number 3, George Kittle, who had a good game last week as well. Number 4, TJ Hockenson. And then kind of after those 4 guys, it kind of gets a little, it's a wild card, right? Number 5, Pat Freiermuth. I think he has some good value there with Kenny Pickett. Him and George Pickens are definitely Kenny Pickett's favorite targets there down in Pittsburgh. Look for Pat Freiermuth to do some things this week. At number 6, got Bobby Schultz, cousin Dalton Schultz. Going up against. I'm pretty sure Bobby's tired of hearing that.
When he was out, I was like, man, you got to talk to your cousin. He's like, what do you mean? Like, man, I miss saying Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz, on the show. So you got to talk to your cousin. And he's like, man. Anyways, yeah.
Anyways, Dalton Schultz going against the New York Giants. At number 7, I got Cole Kmet. Godly Trevor Siemian, if he is playing. I don't know how good he'll be.
Blanket no matter what. And Cole Kmet's been awesome. Like this last 3 weeks in a row. Like that
catch.
That one hit
last week
was insane. Like he's getting
that was insane. Like, that was insane. Yeah, Cole Kmet has a lot of upside. Moving forward. But anyways, Cole Kmet's been good last 4 or so weeks. Number 8, Greg Dulcich. He's another guy that's been real consistent for Russell Wilson. Look for him to be a top 10 tight end this week. Going up against the Carolina Panthers. At number 9, I got Tyler Higbee, and then rounding out my top 10, Dawson Knox going and playing in Detroit. I think everybody's going to eat for Buffalo, which is why I got Dawson Knox, and I got Gabriel, and I got Stephon Diggs, all on the radar, because I think all 3 of those guys in the passing game are going to eat against Detroit's woeful defense. So yeah, give me Dawson Knox on my as my top 10, as my number 10 wide receiver, and then on my outside looking in, I got Jawan Johnson from the New Orleans Saints, who's secretly been, pretty decent.
5 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks for Jawan Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. So Jawan Johnson, hopefully he can keep it going here against San Francisco for you guys.
He only really seems to catch touchdowns in garbage time, but
Whatever, fantasy. Who cares? What's garbage time in fantasy? What?
They're going up against San Francisco 49ers. I imagine there will be a lot of garbage time.
Yeah, there will be a ton of garbage time. And for a fantasy owner, I'm like, yeah, garbage time? Who cares? As long as he scores a touchdown, I don't care if they lose 35-14. Anyways, outside looking, I got Hayden Hurst and then Mike Gesicki going up against the Houston Texans. And my sneaky in FanDuel is rookie Trey McBride at 4,800. I know everybody. I had Grant Capitera last week. I hope you guys didn't take my advice because he didn't do jack shit last week. I think Jake Stahl had a little bit. Jake Stahl was on the field more, and he actually caught a couple passes last week.
Well, actually, Trey McBride had like 7 catches in that game. I actually think he was the leading. Like he might have led the team in targets that game.
Yeah, so that's really the reason why, man. I think moving forward, I think with Zach Ertz down, I think Trey McBride is going to get implemented more into this offense. They're going to find more plays for him, to get him the football here, especially with Rondale Moore out. We don't even really know what his status is in the game. For this game, I think Trey McBride does have some fantasy value. And if Kyler Murray definitely comes back, Trey McBride definitely is a good cheap option at 4,800 for you guys.
I was wrong. Trey McBride didn't lead the team in targets, but he did have 4 targets for 14 yards, and he caught all 4 of his targets. So, I mean, he was involved in the passing attack. He had less targets than AJ Green, which is probably not a great sign. But yeah.
I just think for being a tight end, there's nobody else at the tight end position there in Arizona.
True.
So
I mean, Max Williams, but he's really more of a blocker.
He's playing way more than Max Williams.
Yeah, he 100%. From your tight ends to my tight ends, our number 1 is still the same. Number 1, Travis freaking Kelce. Yeah, coming off that hat trick of touchdowns. 2, George Kittle, man. I'm up on the upswing on George Kittle. He's been really good the last few weeks. I think he's had 3 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. George Kittle's been productive. 3, Mark Andrews. Still looks like he's dealing with some of the signs of that injury, and that passing attack for Baltimore hasn't really been all that good the last 2 or 3 weeks. So a little concerned there. But 4, TJ Hawkinson. He's been so seamlessly transitioned into that Minnesota Vikings offense. It's been really nice to see. And then 5, Bobby Schultz's cousin, Dalton Schultz. 6, Cole Kmet. Yeah, the guy's been awesome this season. Continue to roster him. Continue to play him. I don't care who the quarterback is for the Bears. If it's Trevor Siemian, he's going to need that safety valve. Cole Kmet's been that guy this season. 7, Pat Freiermuth. 8, Greg Dulcich. 9, I got Dalton Schultz on there twice. Just ignore it. 10, Tyler Higbee. And then my outside looking in, I got Foster Moreau, Juwan Johnson, and then Dawson Knox rounding out my outside looking in. And then in my sneaky and daily, I got Cade Otton at 3,300. Last time Cade Otton was on the football field, he was catching the game-winning touchdown against the Los Angeles Rams. He looks like the main tight end you want with everybody else on IR. I think you can do worse than Cade Otton at 3,300, which is really cheap in daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Tom Brady loves his tight ends. So,
yeah. But yeah, moving on from the tight ends to the other side of the ball to the defense. Number 1 defense is me as well. The 49ers look fully healthy right now, going up against a so-so offense of the New Orleans Saints. I know they just gashed up the Los Angeles Rams, but this 49ers defense is special. 2, Dallas Cowboys going up against the New York Giants. 4, 3, Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Los Angeles Rams, with whoever is going to be the quarterback for that team. I'm not sure. It might be Bryce Perkins. Doesn't instill me with all that much confidence in the ability.
Or John Wolford.
Yeah, either way. 4, Miami going up against Houston. 5, Denver Broncos. Then my outside looking in, I got Bills, Bengals, Commanders. And then my sneaky and daily is the Kansas City Chiefs, 2,800. Really cheap in daily.
Really cheap in daily, and for them, they're going against the they're going against the the Houston Texans. They're going against
the Los Angeles Rams.
Los Angeles Rams, yeah, my bad. Going against the Los Angeles Rams, and I think that if John Wolford or whoever's the quarterback, that defense is going to be on the field. That offense is not the defense. That offense is not going to be on the field. They're going to have a lot of 3 and outs. They're going to call for the ball. They don't run the football particularly well. They have a lot of people out. I mean, you're really relying on, Allen Robinson and whoever the hell else, Tyler Higbee with the backup quarterback. Van Jefferson. Come on, man. I think the Kansas City Chiefs get after them. That's why they're my number 1 defense this week Kansas City Chiefs. And I really was starting to talk about the offense because their offense is going to put pressure on the Rams offense to sit back there and try and throw the football because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to put points on the board and the Rams are going to have to do nothing but try to pass and get back in the game. And you know what's going to happen, David? They're going to have a backup quarterback back there. He's going to be a city duck. He's going to have Chris Jones coming after him. He's going to have the Kansas City defense barreling down on him, and they're going to be forcing turnovers left and right on this on the LA Rams.
I don't necessarily disagree with that take. So
yeah. And number 2, I got the 49ers just because exactly what you said. I think this team is scary good. I mean, they're going to hit their stride in the second half, and I think if whoever faces them in the playoffs, good luck. That's all I got to say. Because this team is physical. They can run the football. They have weapons on the outside. Jimmy G's, all he's got to do is just get the ball to him and let him work. And then his defense is just top notch. I mean, it's probably the best defense next to – they probably need better defense than Philadelphia. Probably the best defense in the league, in my opinion. And number 3, I got the Denver – number 3, I got the Denver Broncos. Number 4, I got the Baltimore Ravens. Then number 5, right on the top 5, I got the Washington Commanders. Yeah, Chase Young's coming back, already added to a pretty good front 7 already. Look for Washington to, wreak some havoc on Atlanta at home, like the Washington Commanders this week. And then outside looking in, they got the Miami Dolphins, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Buffalo Bills going up against Detroit. And then my sneaky and daily, I like the Minnesota Vikings at 4,000. Yeah, I really don't, that New England offense is very lethargic. Mac Jones, you're not that guy, pal. Brady Zappi, you're not that guy, pal. They're going to have to rely a lot on Ramondre Stevenson, which makes them one-dimensional, which I think the Minnesota Vikings will take advantage of. They'll put a lot of pressure on New England by scoring. And they're out there to prove themselves after getting shellacked by the Dallas Cowboys. I think this defense comes back to life and puts on a nice performance. And at 4,000, can't beat that.
I totally agree with you on that. I think Minnesota is an interesting sneaky daily. Also, if you're looking for somebody, if you're in if you didn't get it, like let's say you were in the waiver wire, you tried to get the Bengals or the Commanders. I think the Vikings are probably still available, and you can probably pick them up and start them. And you can Chiefs too. I think the Chiefs are probably available. You can probably pick them up and start them too. Before we get out of the show, the thing we do every week, we talk about who we think is going to be the scoring leader for the next following week. Week 11 was Tony Pollard. You were very close. On your Travis Kelce prediction, Tony Pollard edged him out by 1.9 points last week. 36.9 points for Tony Pollard, and PPR scoring 35.5 for Travis Kelce. I
was super close to that one, man.
I don't remember who I picked to be my highest scoring winner. It might have been Devontae Adams, who was third. But who do you got this week? Who do you think is going to be the leading scorer in fantasy this week? If you have to go through your
leading scorer this week is going to be Tyreek Hill going up against the Houston Texans. I think he'll have 200 receiving yards and a couple touchdowns. That'll be good enough for 32, 33 fantasy points. Depending on PPR, he might get 34, 35, 36 fantasy points. That's going to lead this week. Tyreek Hill.
I'll go Austin Eckler. I think Austin Eckler has a good game there against the Arizona Cardinals. I think that running game is the way you beat the Arizona Cardinals. I think Austin Eckler have a good game there. Look for him to have 3 total touchdowns in that game. Austin Eckler is the number 1 scorer in fantasy this week, in my opinion.
I love it.
But yeah, let us know down in the comments section who you think will be the highest scorer in week number 12 in fantasy. And hopefully these rankings help you get your victory as the playoffs quickly approach. I think we have 3 weeks in most of the leagues that I'm in where you can still get your playoff spot. So you need to get on a hot streak. Hopefully the rankings help you out. I've been David Huppin. Right there is the CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. And one more thing before we get up out of here, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, including on the YouTube side of this, where we're Prime Sports World on Facebook. So please like, share, and subscribe over there. Also, hopefully you all have a very nice Thanksgiving. Keep an eye out for the Games of the Week show. That will air with music here in just under an hour or so, whenever I can get the graphics built. So keep an eye out for that show. I've been David Huppin. Right there is the CEO, Izzy Rivera. And Izzy, what we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bring it 24/7, baby.
Bring the heat, baby. And if you're going out tonight, I want to reiterate, if you're going out tonight for Blackout Wednesday, please take an Uber. Be safe. Have a designated driver. I don't want to hear anybody getting in a crash on tonight. Please.
Yeah, no. Uber, Lyft, or you can walk home. Use them legs, buddy.
Yeah, 100%. We'll be back here. Friday when we do the Fantasy Football Weekly Show with Izzy. So he's going to be breaking down one of the biggest matchups in college football, probably this entire year. Yeah.
Yes, Michigan and Ohio State, the big game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. And we got Notre Dame and USC, baby. Let's go. Real excited.
And then me and TJ on Saturday are going to be back here with the crossover. So keep an eye out for that content. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.
Peace out.